you mentioned like all the crazy shit you see happening in Europe with the rapes, the stabbings, the kidnappings, the et cetera, et cetera. Every day, I can't even go through a social media feed for a single day without seeing at least 2 or 3 videos of like the black and trans fantasy stomping out some white kid or whatever. They're doing some sort of stupid shit. And you see, I've seen some videos now of in Europe, in Ireland, particularly in France, where some people are starting to take action now. I think people are in Canada, particularly, are probably afraid to take action because we see what happened to Daniel Penny in New York and such. When do you think it becomes acceptable now, socially acceptable to do something? Like, when will people stop being afraid, and when will they get off the couch to do something?
Well, the shitty thing is, and you saw there's one of the worst ones in the last while was in, I think it was somewhere in BC. I want to say Vancouver, but I don't know. Surrey, probably, where all the Indians are. This guy, one of these garbage, shouldn't be here, doesn't belong here, should have been summarily executed in the street by the police, in my opinion. Stabbed this Canadian man for asking him not to blow smoke in his daughter's face while they're in a lineup at Starbucks. So he just stabs him and kills him right there in the street. And people are like, what can you do? And you mentioned Daniel Penny, right? Like, they're like, this stuff's going to happen. And unfortunately, like, there's martyrs. Like, people have to be sacrificed. Like, they're going to do these things. They're going to defend themselves. And they're going to get charged. They're going to get arrested. They're going to get convicted. They're going to be like Derek Chauvin and all these people. They're going to be attacked in prison and all this. But each time this happens, it moves the needle a little bit. More people notice and more people see it. It's like, throwing rocks at a one of those tempered glass wall. Like, it's not shatterproof. Enough of these eventually will break it. Nobody wants to be everybody wants to be the brick that, goes through clean, but it's just not how it works. And in war too, like somebody's got to be first. Somebody's got to go over the hill first. Somebody's got to go in the door first, and generally doesn't work out very well for them. But it's just, that's the sacrifice we have to make collectively. And if you're in a situation where it's like, do the right thing and run away, like if we don't accept that this is, I guess this is me, I'm right here when this crazy shit's happening. I'm not going to let somebody get killed or die because I was afraid. That's just wrong. And I think we'll win eventually. Things will change. These people will be bailed out of jail. They'll be rescued and so on. But I mean, look at what poor Chris Lysak had to go through. He was just at the Coots blockade. He spent nearly 2 years in prison. He didn't know if he was ever going to get out of there. I thought he was going to die in there. And may have. People tried to sabotage us. They sabotaged the fundraiser. They sent the CRA after the organizers and audited their businesses. They dumped a bunch of info to the police. They're dealing with Antifa. They're giving like just horrendous, and these are people that pretend like they give a shit about anything. They're just, butthurt freaks. But like all of these little, stories, they stack on top of each other, and then it just basically raises the temperature in the pot to where it boils a little more. And then there's one too many. There's like one more thing, and then that's the one that just sets it off. That's the brick that goes right through the window because everybody's had enough now. Like Ireland's reaching that stage. Like literally. If that thing happened once every 10 years, like the Daniel Penny thing, it would be like, but if it starts becoming all the time, more and more, people see that the justice system is illegitimate. It's targeting people for defending themselves. It's punishing people for sticking up for themselves. It's slanted towards white guys particularly. It's letting off rapists and killers because, well, they're black or they're native and they have generational trauma, and it's not fair. I saw a rapist get let out because it would have been bad for his mental health to keep him in prison. Like this kind of stuff, right? The more that happens, the more it brings the temperature up a little bit incrementally, a little more. And what you're seeing happen now is a result of that over years and years of this happening. The yellow vests started in France, years ago. That was probably the beginning of it. The first kind of cycle. It's like starting a lawnmower. You get a pull, it doesn't go right away. It's a little closer. Another pull, not quite, but a little closer. Another pull, not quite, and then eventually it's going to go. And you're seeing these groups pop up everywhere. And in Canada, there's a void right now, and we're intending to at least partially or attempt to fill that with our organization, what we're going to do. Other people want to do that. I would encourage them to do that or join with us and support what we're doing. Either way, but that's happening all over the world, whether we want to or not. And that's instinct. It's instinctively, all the guys know something has to be done. Every man I talk to pretty much feels that way, that something's got to be done. Like somebody's got to do something. We got to organize and do something here. So do it then. There's no better. The best time to do it was yesterday, right? And today would be the second best time, and tomorrow's the third best. So they're gonna become more and more popular. Especially, I think, violent crime. All of the bad things are going to keep increasing for the next foreseeable future. But as they do, the counter effect of that is people like me and you or people that maybe are like starting to notice things are like they're trying to watch hockey, but everything's on fire outside. I saw a video. A train went through town completely on fire. Like you could have been literally watching the Leafs game and like ding 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 ding. Like was that a hell train? What in the fuck is going on? Like, and then these because the temperature keeps increasing, people are less comfortable, they're more afraid, their anxiety goes up, and then what was previously considered extreme reactions now becomes a lot more understandable and interesting, and they're curious and they want to know more. That's what happened to me. That's what happened to so many other people. They start to see and notice and go, oh my God, what's happening? And then all of a sudden it becomes more legitimate and more necessary, because it aligns with what you're seeing in real life. Like I'm going the Halifax shopping center in the city here is basically stab time. Like there's somebody getting stabbed there every week. Kids, one 16-year-old is just killed there all the time. That never used to happen, but people now don't send their kids to the mall, and that's in the back of the dad's head when he's trying to watch hockey. Like, where'd they go? They're not going to that mall, are they? Like, how much more? Or their kid gets killed or something. What happened to Derek, my friend? Derek Harrison, his daughter was over in France, and the Nice truck attack, she nearly got killed, or she was there when it happened, and he was like, what is going on? And it just shook him right out of it. Like all these little things that happen produce more people like us, and they're just going to get bigger and bigger. So I thought, well, if they're going to, if you build it, they will come. They need a tent, they need somewhere to go, so let's set up the tables and chairs and throw it open, and they're going to come on their own. I don't even need to advertise. All we have to do is exist, and they'll come through on their own, because it's going to be obvious, and that's going to happen everywhere. And then there's going to be the inevitable kind of confrontation, because it's a threat to the establishment power. They don't care that their new migrant friends are killing everybody and burning the country down. They just want to stay in their chair and eat the pig food and make the money. And they can't do that if there's a large group of organized people challenging their authority in public, in front of other people, telling the truth, saying this is what you're doing and this is what you should be doing, and we're not going to tolerate it. And it's then there's going to be a confrontation of some kind. That's going to be up to them. If they want to get violent and start trying to kill us and do whatever, they can do that if they want, but everybody's going to see it happen, and they're going to know that we were right to oppose them in the first place. There's literally no version of this scenario where they win. It's impossible. It's just if people have the guts to do what they got to do and stand up and defend themselves. If they do that, they can't win. So that's why the campaign to keep everybody suppressed and afraid and disorganized and alone, that has to continue, and they're desperately trying to make that happen, because if that gets loose, and that's what I've been trying to get loose, is build people's confidence and kind of ferocity with the slogans. It's like, it's not enough to just be like, no, I don't think so, I don't think I want to participate. That's not enough. It has to be a very antagonistic, aggressive kind of, I'm not moving my feet, and if you want me to move, you're gonna have to make me, and I'm gonna fight you if you try.
I used to think that when I didn't used to think that, I still think this in any kind of self-defense scenario, right? You could be facing some crazy odds, but the only way through it is to think that you're going to come out on top and that you're going to kill this person. And that's it. That's what's happening. Yeah. It could be a roving gang of 12 guys with machetes. Doesn't matter. I'm winning. And it could be, you could die, but that has to be in your mind.
It's as soon as you think you're going to lose, you are going to lose. It's so critical to never succumb to that. We used to do this, we just do this in the gym at work. We were treadmill or whatever it is, and we'd like do these little tests. And be like, okay, you're going, all right, and then start telling them, you're not going to make it. It's too heavy. You can't. And then it would break them. Like when it's like they're barely on the edge. And then other times you do the opposite. You start yelling at them, go up, like positive things, and then they do it. And I tell them, do that to yourself at home and watch the difference when you're on that last 2 reps or something, and you're like that. There's a point where you're tired, and you're tired. Like the yellow light comes on, like low fuel, and you're like, okay, close enough, pack it in. That voice comes in, right? You'll find the extra gear, and that's the power of your mind. And that's all that is this. All I did was change the frequency of what's being the song in my head. Just I changed to a different station. I went from I'm tired to I'm going to kill everything. And now I've got an extra 20 minutes out of it. I'll do it if I'm hitting the heavy bag, like just little, or sitting in a sauna, like just little things that are like, oh, I'll get in there for 20 minutes. And then 20 minutes later, I'm like, I'm going to die in here. It's so hot. And like, I'm doing 10 more, I'm doing 10 more, or I'll do another round, or I'm going to do this. So yeah, if you're in a struggle like that, it's critical. It like more than critical. It's the most important thing is that you believe that you're going to succeed. And if you believe that, it starts to become real. I mean, look, this is proof. Look at this, all of this crazy stuff we did. We made the prime minister now. has acknowledged this as if it's a serious thing on national television, like we're on par with the Russians or the IRGC or something. Oh, those Diagolon people and the Russians, we've got a lot of security threat. Are you kidding me? This is all just the power of the will. Like, how many times have they tried to shut me down and shut us down and put it like, I just refuse. And you can will things into existence if you don't stop, if you don't give up. It's incredible what you can do. So yeah, I try to give that to people as much as possible. It's like, if you have that mindset, you're unreasonable. You know, you have the audacity to like, I am never going to stop. Even put to the point where it's like, you're crazy. Why are you continuing? Because I'm crazy. That's right. You know, and how did they row the boats as far as they did? How did they get over the mountain? How did they do anything? Because they're nuts, right? They embrace this mindset where it's like, I will die. I'm going to do this or I'm going to die. Either way, whatever comes first. And I learned that was, doing the special forces selection was one of the hardest things I ever did when I first did it, because I was not in great shape. I was in okay shape, but you need to be in good or great shape to do well. So I was by day like 5, I was like nothing left of me, right? And I remember I fell down. We were doing this. It was the last day. It was the very last day of this, and we were basically on our feet for like 20 hours straight, with like 100 pounds on our back. Rucksack, and going from one place to another, like 5K to this objective, and then 3 to this one, and then 7 to this one, and then 5, like all night, all day long, right? And the sun was coming up in the morning, and they don't tell you when it's over. It's just going on and on. And I was toasted. I slipped off of the edge of a road, rucksack on, everything, rifle. I just ass over tea kettle, yard sailed right into a ditch. And I remember just laying there like, you're so tired. Every step is pain, and I've got blood blisters that are this thick on both of my heels. There's blood in my boots. My toenail on my left foot beside my big. I had to cut it off with a knife because the blister was so big. It was like curling over my toe. I couldn't fit it in my boot prop, so they're like, figure it out. So I'm a mess, and I'm laying there like, I'm done, man. I'm not gonna make it. I came close, and I'm not gonna. And these guys start yelling at me. They're like, come on, get up, let's go, whatever. So I was like, all right, man, all right. I climbed up and I thought, okay, I felt like I was going to, I'm going to pass out probably. Like I've never been this tired. And I was like, if I keep going, this is it. I'm done. I can't do any more than this. If I keep going, I'm going to get hurt. My legs are going to break, or something's going to break on me, or I'm going to pass out or whatever. And they're yelling at me, and the staff is like, are you quitting or not? And I was just like, all right, fine. I will die then. I was like, I don't think I'll die, but I was like, I was sure I'm going to pass out. I am. My legs are like, my ACL is going to tear. Like something's going to happen. Everything hurts. My foot's going to I don't know, whatever. I'm just like, good. I like the pain. Yay. So I was just going to go until that happened. And I was just waiting for it to happen, just angrily, just kind of suffering. And then, 6 hours later, it was over. And I was like, what? I'm done. Like, yeah, you made it. I'm like, oh, okay. So, that's how you just have to commit to that and say, no, I'm doing this or I'm going to die, one or the other. I don't care. I'm not that's the mindset when people say like quitting isn't an option. It's not like, it literally isn't. It's just, no, I'm doing this until it's done. It's the same as like eating a bowl of cereal. Nobody eats cereal or a sandwich and thinks halfway through, I don't know if I can do this, man. I better give up. You're like, how did you eat that whole sandwich? Like, well, I ate it until it was gone, and then I went and did something else. It's the exact same idea. It's just you don't get into your own head and tell yourself how difficult it is and how hard it is. Like, this is just what you're doing right now. One foot in front of the other. You're doing this now, and then when you're finished and when you complete this task, you do the next thing and do the next thing. Oh, it's really hard. Lots of things are really hard. And they get done all the time. And you're going to do this. So go.
I like to say that nothing great was ever accomplished by being realistic.
Yeah, it's true. I'm going to fly a plane. Sure you are. And these guys built a paper mache, like that stupid plane, the Wright brothers plane, the first thing. This is crazy, right? Can you imagine? It's like a lawnmower attached to a paper airplane, and he's like laying on it and sails it off a cliff. Like, what are you doing? That's badass, dude. Like, that's hardcore. Stuff like that and look what it's done for the world. Look what we've been able to achieve because of crazy people, right? Crazy people get shit done. Crazy people change the world. The sane, normal, good behaved, obedient boy has never done shit. He's just a cog in a machine, and he's just there to be, bossed around and stuff. And I never felt like that was for me.